Welcome back on this glorious and amazing day. Thanks for joining. Before we begin to wrap up, I'm reminded of a fascinating story. Very sad, very painful. Basically, there was this couple that they were both very, very frustrated with an intimacy. I spoke to the husband, then I spoke to the wife, and then it was very simple. I discovered that they both understand love and came into love as most of us, which is through a noun, a good feeling. And you enter into intimacy, and what they're wanting is to be serviced, to be looked after, to be loved, to be taken care of. The only problem is they were both doing the same thing at the same time. So when I come to you and say, give me, and simultaneously you say, give me, everyone's busy yelling at each other, give me, even though you don't verbalize the exact same words. Something in me doesn't like this answer, but that's the best that I had then, that's the best that I have now. If you have a better answer, please share it in the comments. Please share anything in the comments. I'd love to learn new stuff. The older I get, the more I realize how little I know and how much I want to learn. So I was even almost embarrassed to say what I told them. I basically said, hey, when you get together, you have 10 minutes where the husband focuses only on the wife, nothing about himself. And then you don't have to set an alarm. It might be too robotic. And then after 10 minutes, then the woman only focuses on the husband. I know why I don't like it, because it's so unnatural. But to make the long story short, when they came back to me months later, they said they were way happier. They were way happier. And obviously you get it for 2 years or more. Everyone is trying to take, and no one's even focusing on giving. Now it happens to be, when you look at love as a verb, your focus is only on giving. Of course, the pleasure will bounce back. And like we spoke about last week, just the pleasure that you have invested in that person. Now, this is going to be very hard to go to this part, but I will do it because I do things even when they're difficult. And some of you are watching this, might be very sad or even crying right now and saying, not with my spouse. I hear everything you're saying. The reason why I feel sad, because I've heard this too often, and I will address this question, this pain, this concept, which I don't know if 20% of you are suffering from this, or maybe even 60, but between that number, nothing would surprise me. I'll be surprised if it's under 20%, and I'll be surprised if it's over 60. But this is just my best guess after listening to people for 3 decades or more within this topic. I do give. And sometimes they mention to me how much they give, and it's a one-way street. Some people want to call it narcissism. Some people will say he or she is a narcissist. I don't need the labels, basically. Better just describe to me the story so we don't have to freak out. If they do have that label, they don't. Let's just judge for face value. There's so many of you that came crying to me on both sides of the aisle that you do give. And they tell me how much they give. But even when they ask for the smallest thing, it's a one-way street. Or she is just the queen and she runs the show, or he's the king and he runs the show. And there is no partnership. Like one individual got very, very upset at me because he basically said, as far as he understands, a marriage is not a two-way street. That's not the way Orthodox Judaism is. And how dare I validate his wife's feelings? And he obviously blamed me, how horrible and corrupt and crazy I am for even thinking or suggesting that there's any fairness or balance within a marriage or relationship. Obviously, that's extremely unhealthy, vicious, cruel, and terrible. But no, not to me. I'm used to it. I'm fine with all these type of things. But for his wife, it's not, he was embarrassed about it. He was officially about it, that it's a one-way street. That he's the king and she got to do everything, including of him dropping his socks and commanding his wife to clean it up and so on and so forth. Pathetic. Now, I don't think it's his fault. I think the fact that his wife was there more than 3 seconds in that marriage is an issue for itself. What's the advice for so many of us that feel like that they do love in a verb, they do give in so many ways, and the other individual does not? Please join me next week, and I will share with you, to the best of my knowledge, what I can help you with. Thank you. And always do remember, till we're back next week, that you are way greater than you think you are. And if you like the content, you could share it with your friends or click on the like button, because then you might be the one that will cause that someone else might hear some of this content and more people might be helped for free, just sitting on their phone or by their laptop and listening to another series about love and life. Thank you.